Hope y'all having an amazing day so far. I'm gonna wait as people start chiming in. Got a couple things I want to talk about tonight, as far as real estate investing, because there's a lot of different ways you could get started in real estate. So, just want to jump on tonight and kind of go over a strategy that you could use, especially right now when everything is high, expenses are high, right? And we're trying to get a lot of people, just be real with you. A lot of people are just afraid to get in real estate. They don't know how to get started. They don't know that there's different strategies and there's easy ways to get started in real estate. So, as y'all chime in, let me know where y'all chiming in from, what state. I got students in all different states as well. So let me know where y'all chiming from. If you're in ATL, if you're in say for instance Orlando, if you're in New York, let me know. All right, let me see here. And guys, I got several different things going on. I got YouTube. I got different channels that I got going on right now. But yo, let me chime in and let y'all know the strategy. Like I said, this is real estate, and in real estate, there's different things you could do. There's different ways that you could invest in real estate. Tonight, what I'm gonna be focusing on is house hacking. Now, guys, I'm gonna let y'all know up front, I'm Jamaican. I am Jamaican, so sometimes I'm gonna say some shit that might be a little bit off the wall, but hopefully y'all get the gist and y'all put two and two together. I always say that up front because a lot of time I gotta think before I have to say stuff, right? I got that Jamaican patois where we come out now and then. See what I talk about? So yeah, that's what I'm talking about, right? But anyway, so there's different strategies you could use when it comes to real estate. One of them is house hacking, right? But there's three main ways. There's three main ways that you invest in real estate. You're either doing a fix and flip, a buy and hold, or wholesaling, right? Now, of course, you could do crowdfunding, you could do all those other stuff, but I'm not gonna get in that. Beginner investors, what they're looking to do is build wealth. Everybody that's coming in, the people that I focus on, you want to come into real estate to build wealth. So with that, there's different strategies you could use. There's people coming in that don't have good credit, so that steer them away from getting started in real estate because they say they don't have perfect credit and they need to have perfect credit to get started in real estate. That's bullshit. I'm telling you right off the bat, you don't need perfect credit. A lot of people say, well, I need a lot of money to get started in real estate. You don't need a lot of money to get started in real estate. All you have to do is make sure that you're educated enough. Once you're educated enough, then you will know how to start in real estate. There's a lot of people that come in and yes, you may have savings saved up, right? There's more people that will come in and they don't even have a dime. They're just tired of their job and they want a way out. Some people, they just looking for extra income, right? Some people, they're looking to leave a legacy behind for their kids. And one of the ways that they could do it is to build a real estate portfolio. So there's different ways that we're talking about people coming in real estate. So don't feel like that you can't enter into real estate because you don't have perfect credit, you don't have money, all that stuff. So I'm gonna go through different ways, right? This is the reason why I'm here, to make sure that I can help you solve your problem or you getting started in real estate. So tonight, what I'm gonna be focusing on is house hacking. How you could come into real estate. And I did it not even realizing at first what it was, right? And there's a lot of people right now that may be house hacking and you don't know, but the only thing is you're the one that's paying their rent, right? You're in a house hacking situation, but you're actually paying rent. So if you're living with someone, and they own a house, that means that you're really in the situation where you're paying for their rent. So what is house hacking? House hacking is when you basically buy a house and then you rent out the rooms, or you buy a duplex, a multifamily, and you rent those units out, right? The whole objective is to get started in real estate, to build a rental portfolio, or some people, they just want to lower their expenses. And right now, in the time that we're in, where gas prices are high, where, rents are out the roof, right? Think about it. Rents are out the roof. People are paying, $1,500-$1,600 for a one-bedroom apartment, right? So in this case, when you house hack, you're basically lowering your expenses to the point where you actually can live free, depending on the situation that you're in, right? So thanks, guys. As you chime in, you're gonna see me looking at different cameras, all that stuff. So, like, the benefits when you're talking about, house hacking is that, number one, you get to live rent free, right? In some situations, not all, but either way, you're gonna lower your expenses, right? The second thing is you're gonna be able to get involved in real estate. So now you're learning how to be a landlord. You're learning how to invest in real estate. So you're right there doing the whole thing. Now, some people, they don't want to do the landlord thing. If they purchase multifamilies, they say, you know what? I don't want to deal with the tenant situation. Let me go ahead and hire a property management, right? And you can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. What I would recommend is that you get your feet wet by actually learning how to manage your own property. So when you hire a property management company, you know if they're doing things right or not, right? The next thing is you get deductibles, right? You get a tax benefit as far as you now being able to have your own property. So before, when you have a apartment complex, you only can write off a little bit, right? But now you have your actual house, you get tax benefits. You not only can write off that part, but you now can write off, different stuff. You get tax benefits. You could do mortgage. You could use your mortgage interest that you pay every year. You could use that as well as a way to get tax benefits from that. There's different tax benefits you could go. You're talking about light bill, water bill, cable bill, internet, all that stuff you could now get write-offs on, right? You could do that with apartments too if you live in renting, but different situation where you could put the whole thing in your business, right? And you're writing off the whole thing. The next thing, of course, is you're building equity, right? Now you're building equity instead of you paying off somebody else's mortgage, you paying off somebody else's investment, and they're building equity, they're building wealth for their family, right? Now you start building wealth for your own family. Now you're saying you put yourself in a situation where you purchase a house, and now every single month, that rent that you're paying, it's bringing your equity down. And now you have other people paying it as well. So now you become the landlord. You're putting yourself in that situation where you're now building equity in that house, right? And you got to look at it like that. When you're getting in real estate, again, we have objectives when we're talking about investing in real estate. Our objective is to make money. Our objective is to build wealth. Our objective is to leave something behind for our kids or our unborn kids, because some of you might not have kids right now, but you plan to have kids, right? So those are some of the benefits we're talking about when you're renting out. Think about it like this, right? There's people out there right now, just like I mentioned, there's people out there right now that are paying $1,500 just for a 1-bedroom apartment, right? Now, a next situation, that same person can go out and buy a house for $200,000, right? Now, there's different strategies you could use, okay? You might say, well, George, I don't have the money. Well, hold on a bit, right? There's different ways. So say, for instance, because I'm going to drop some stuff on y'all right now. Say, for instance, you go out and you buy a house for $200,000. You're looking at a house for $200,000. Depending on where the house is, you could go and buy that house for 0% down. There's programs that you could actually use depending on your state, depending on the area that you're buying the house in. You have USDA, you have NACA program. Some cities have grants that they give you. If you're a first-time buyer, there's all kind of stuff that you could use when it comes to you getting that property, right? Now, you could use FHA, which requires 3.5% down. Notice, I am not talking about the actual way of purchasing an investment property. We're not talking about investment property, because if it was investment property, you would have to put down 20% down, right? 20% down of 200 grand, you're talking about 40 grand, right? A lot of people don't have 40 grand sitting down to put down. So that's why we get discouraged sometimes when you're talking about investing in real estate. But we're talking about an actual approach to start getting started where it doesn't cost a lot of money, right? And this is a way that you could start. So you have the 3.5%. So let's say we go with 3.5%. Now that's 7 grand off that $200,000. Now imagine this. If you're renting somewhere, right? If you're renting somewhere, and I'm going to go bigger now, because if you're buying a house for $200,000 and we're talking about house hacking, well, you're going to make sure you're looking for certain criteria with that house, which I'm going to get into as well, right? But say, for instance, you're renting right now, right? And you're paying $1,500 a month. You find a property that's $200,000. You're putting down $7,000. Well, with a property, depending on if you're renting, well, it's a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom. So you're talking about an apartment. You have to put down first month rent, last month rent, and security deposit. So that's $4,000 just in rent. And then you're talking about some places they take $1,000 for security deposit. So right there, you have to put down $5,000 to get an apartment complex, to move into somebody else's investment, right? Now, if you're talking about renting somewhere, there's rents that are crazy. So if you're talking about somebody that's renting a 3-bedroom house, right? Most of those are going for like $2,000 minimum right now. $2,000, depending, I know in Florida, $2,000, Atlanta, $2,000, right? So in that case, you're talking about first month, last month, security deposit. So now $4,000, right? And then you're talking about, so again, a half of that. So you're talking about $5,000 right there. You're putting down, right? Shit, the apartment was $4,000. Sorry, the apartment was $4,000. The house is $5,000. $2,000 for first month, $2,000 for last month. Security deposit $1,000, right? So that's $5,000 right there. Again, if you think about it, you're not building any equity. You don't have any tax deductions on there, right? Again, you're not leaving any legacy. You're not leaving anything behind for your kids. You're not showing them how they can invest in real estate. You're not doing anything to set up yourself for the future. That's basically what I'm saying, right? Versus now, you go ahead and you go out there and you buy this $200,000 property. You put down $7,000. Again, this is me saying that you're putting down $7,000. There's ways that you could go about it where you don't have to put no money down. You have to just look and do some damn research, put some skin in the game. You could find ways that you don't put no money down with grants and all that other stuff, right? So now, using the $7,000 scenario, you put down $7,000. Your mortgage on that property is going to be $1,350. So right there, you're paying less. You're paying what? $200. If it's a 1-bedroom apartment, right? I'm going back to that 1-bedroom apartment. Remember, you put $4,000 down to get into that 1-bedroom apartment, right? Now you put $7,000 down to get into this place. You're paying $1,500, and I'm just giving scenarios here. I'm just going like, you're paying $1,500 for a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment. You're paying $1,350 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom apartment, right? $1,350. You're already paying less money, right? Some people say, "Oh, I don't want to put that money down because I don't have that money," or all different stuff I hear, right? But you have to think about it. Now you're actually saving $150. That's mortgage versus rent already. You're saving money right there. Now, if you're talking about you paying rent on a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house at $2,000, if you're paying $2,000, now you're saving $650. So let that sink in, right? Now, as we go on, house values are getting higher. So for people that are in New York, I'm throwing out $200,000. I understand. There's no $200 property in Brooklyn, right? I get it. You have to go outside of your state. You have to go outside of the city. I get that point, right? So the $200,000 that I'm using is just an average of what average cost, right? So that's what I'm talking about. You could actually save money just by doing that. Now, who can do this, right? Anybody can do this. Anybody can do this. If you're renting right now, if you're renting, you can do this, right? If you're single, if you're newly married, if you're already married for years, give you even a better scenario. Even if you already have another house, you have to think about it like if you have kids right now that are about to go off to college, right? And you're saying, oh, I'm going to pay for my kids to stay in a dorm, and you're gonna pay $700 a month just for them to stay in a dorm. And that's cheap, right? Some people are paying $1,000 a month, depending on where they're going. Now think about that. Instead of doing that, you can actually look for a condo, right? Because in dorms and sometimes in college, because when I went to college, I had my own room, but I was sharing the main area because I was in a college area, right? So it's the same thing. If you, instead of you go do the same thing by renting out a room and have your kids stay in an apartment complex where they're just renting out a room and a bathroom, you could actually look for a condo, right? And you could buy a condo. You can buy a single family house. And then when you buy that house, you let them stay in there, and then you rent the other rooms out. It's the same scenario that you're putting them in, but now you're the one that's actually buying the house. You're building equity. You're teaching your kids to invest in real estate. You could actually have them manage the property if you want to as well. There's different ways that you could go by this, right? So now when you have that scenario, when you have that situation, right? At the end, when your kids move out of college or move and say that they no longer want to live in that state, now you could go ahead, if you want to, you can rent that property out. You could gift it to your kid. You could say, here, you know what? As a graduation present, here is this condo. That condo is for you, right? You could say, all right, you know what? Sell the condo. If you have a lot of equity in it, you could now sell that condo. And then say, you know what, the equity that you build from it, you take that money, you give it to them, and buy a house now that they can live in. There's different scenarios, different ways that you could go by this, right? That's just one scenario, right? So anybody can do this, whether you're single or not, right? Even if you're married. Now, there's drawbacks between this, right? There's drawbacks. The drawbacks is privacy, okay? So for some people right now, the people that I would say the people that are perfect for this are people that already have roommates. People that already have roommates should have no issues with this, right? But the drawback is privacy. That's the most thing that you're gonna have is privacy. Now, there's one thing I would recommend. You don't want to deal with family when it comes to this, because if they know, then they're gonna say, well, you know what, George, you got money, so you were able to buy this house. I don't have the money this month, right? You can have those situations as well. And it doesn't have to be only with family. It could be with actual people that are living in the property, right? So you have that scenario where people might not pay as well. But it's the same scenario if you go ahead and you buy a property and that tenant doesn't pay you, right? It's the same scenario no matter what. So when you get into real estate, you might run in a situation where you have a tenant that doesn't pay? I'll say absolutely. So will it happen? Most likely. You'll have a tenant that doesn't pay rent 1 month, or probably they move in and they don't pay afterwards. There's a lot of those tenants that came in when the pandemic happened, right? So when you're investing in real estate, there's gonna be drawbacks. No matter what it is, there are gonna be drawbacks, right? Now, again, you can do different ways when it comes to this. Now, what kind of properties you could use? You could use, when you're looking for these properties, it could be a single family. It could be a situation where you buy a house and you could switch the garage. So you could turn that garage into that space where you rent it out. So if the garage is there, you could build out the garage into a room, put a bathroom in it, and then they don't have to come in your main area, right? You could have a basement, and that basement you could turn into a rentable space for them, right? You could have even, say for instance, I've seen so many different stuff. Now, say for instance, you guys can get creative. I'm not even talking the traditional way of doing house hacking no more. I'm talking about, say for instance, you go ahead because you don't want somebody to live in your house full time with you. You say, you know what? I have my parents that live in the same city or down the street, round the corner, round the bend. That's the Jamaican part come out, right? But you know, you have those people. You have those people that have family in the area. You could put your house on Airbnb. Now, let me get this clear with you guys, right? Because when you jump into Airbnb, VBRO, short-term rental, that's what that's called. You have to make sure that you know your laws in your state. In Atlanta right now, you have to have a license before you can even do Airbnb. If they catch you doing Airbnb in Atlanta without a license, you're gonna get in trouble. You're gonna get fined. They're gonna take it. They can stop you from actually doing short-term rental for a year. There's cost that comes with that, right? So just know your laws when it comes to your state or your city that you live in when you're doing Airbnb, because some cities don't even let you do Airbnb, right? Like I said, you could turn your garage into an Airbnb. I've seen people just do a damn shed in the back, right? And do an Airbnb, right? If you buy a property that have a lot of acreage on it, right? You could go put a damn a tiny home, right? You could go put a tiny home on it, turn it into an Airbnb, right? There's different ways that you could go about doing this. You could turn your space into a co-working space. You could, and I'm throwing out a lot at you guys right now, but this is the ideas that I'm talking about that you could actually do when you purchase this property. You could live rent free, right? So you could turn your place into a co-working space where people come in, and not even say your house, but say for instance you can transform the garage, or you could transform your basement into that, where you turn it into a co-working space so people can now come in and do their work. You could turn it into a studio. You could do all kind of different things and be creative. So now you're renting out that space, right? So those are the different ways that you could go about doing that, right? Now, I've seen a couple people, let's see right here. What's up, Donna K? Hi, Terry. So with that, there's different ways that you could go about doing it. Now, again, steps that you need to do. So now that you know the benefits, now that you know different ways, now you know who can do this, meaning that you can do it. Anybody can do this, even if you have somewhere right now, right? And then the crazy thing is you could repeat this process, right? So the benefits, you know, the benefits of it, right? Tax benefits, you get an equity, right? You're living almost rent-free, or your cost of living goes down, right? Now, what's the steps as far as you go by doing this, right? First things first, right? In anything you do, you got to decide that you want to do it, right? You got to decide, you got to take action. You got to say, you know what? Ball against the wall. I'm going to do this, right? So after you get off this live, after you watch the replay and you say, yo, you know what? This is something I want to do. You got to decide and take action, right? We can't sit down and say, all right, I'm going to get this done in 2022. And then 2023 come and you still renting. That's not what this is for. You got to decide right now, right here, that you're going to do it. Okay. The next thing is you going out and get pre-approved. Oh, George, I don't have good credit. All right. I get it. You don't have good credit. For some people, you might not have good credit, right? I'm not knocking you. If you know you don't have good credit, work on your credit. But it doesn't stop you. Like I said, it doesn't stop you from getting a house, right? We show you how you could use business credit, right? And think about it. If you can go ahead and get a LLC, right? And that LLC, you could get the business funding from that to now go ahead and even put down on a down payment. Or if you get enough money, you could go ahead and dump that whole thing and purchase that house, and you're paying on the business line of credit. Why not? There's different ways. I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but there's different ways of getting money. So even if you go ahead and say, you know what, I'm just going to give you one right here, right? I know I'm being dramatic, but this, you got a wallet. Some of y'all got purses, right? You got credit cards in your purses, right? Now, there's ways that you could get money off your credit card. Yes, it's gonna bring up your actual loan to value and all that stuff. It's gonna bring up your debt to ratio, but you have to make sure that you're using it properly. You got to make sure that you're doing it properly. You're not going over your limit as far as, you're not reaching your threshold where you're going over 35%. Be smart with how you're doing things, but there's ways to get money. There's different ways that you could get money to put down on that house. So you could go borrow from a family member. You could do it on your credit card. If you want to be a boss and say, yo, you know what, I'm gonna figure this shit out, then you could go ahead and you go online and find out what resources that you could get to get the funding, or reach out to organizations that do grants and funding for you, right? There's different ways. If you have a business right now, you could get funding from your business and use it and turn around and put it on a down payment. You just got to know how to do it, right? But you can't say you don't have the money. You just don't know where to get the money, right? So you got to learn where to get the money. There's resources out there. There's people out there that can help you. So get pre-approved is the next step. Now, the next thing is you got to select the right area, right? You got to select the right area, or select the area that you want to invest in. Now, let me be clear. A lot of times as a first-time home buyer, right, we want the perfect house. We are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, we are on YouTube, and we're seeing these lavish houses and the lavish lifestyle, and I want to have that, right? But you don't know the hard damn work those people put in to get there. Now, some people, they're YouTubers and they make YouTube and they get it and they be like, oh shit, they get that. What? They still put the work in, right? So what work are you gonna put in to make sure that you get that? Now, for you, you might not be able to do that right now, but you can't say, yo, I'm gonna go for the fences and I want a luxury house, right? You can start from scratch. You're starting from scratch right now. You're renting. Get in a situation where you find a house, and this is not long term. What I'm teaching you guys right now, what I'm telling you guys right now, is not for you to go buy one house and then that's it for the rest of your life. No, what I'm teaching you right now is for you to do it right now, and then a year from now, you repeat that process. 2 years from now, you repeat that process. A year from now, you can repeat the process. 2 years from now, you could sell that damn house, get everything tax-free, and then go buy the house that you want, right? You could do that. So there's different ways that you could go about doing it, but you got to decide where you want to get that house, okay? The next thing is you're gonna have to search for the house. So I would say this: you have to get a real estate agent. Get an agent, let them know what you want to do, right? What you want to accomplish. Most of the times you're gonna find a house on your own. I'll tell you this, because being a first-time home buyer, a beginner investor, you're always on Zillow, you're always on Trueheller, you're always on Redfin, you're always online, you're always looking for something, right? And you're gonna find stuff, you're gonna see stuff as soon as stuff pop up, especially if you're looking to buy your first house. You might see it before a realtor sees it. Now, the reason why I say you go with a realtor, because when you're buying a house, you need as much people to help you as possible. And a realtor is gonna help you. A realtor has the resources. They have access to the MLS that they can help you. So as soon as something hit the market, they can send it to you, right? So you need people to help you when you're finding these houses, right? So once you have that realtor to help you find a house and you find that house, now you gotta take the action. You gotta jump on it and say, all right, let me close on the house. Let me put an offer on it. Let me put a strong offer. This is not the time, guys, to try to be lowballing anybody. We're not in a market to where you could say, oh, let me go offer 20 grand off the price, right? Depending on the market you're in, but I know the market that we're in Atlanta, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna fly. So you have to come in right now with a strong offer, right? You gotta come in with a strong offer. So once you buy that property, then that's it. You got the property. So now you're moving into your property. You're looking for a tenant. So that's gonna be the next step. You find that tenant. Once you find that tenant, then you're in. You're in. You find a tenant. You find tenants, right? Or It doesn't have to be tenant. It could be you just listing your property on Airbnb. It could be you taking your space and say, you know what, I'm gonna rent that out to somebody, right? It could be you saying, now think about it as this. You may be able to say, well, you know what, I find a house. Thank you, George, for helping me, even thinking about house hacking, but I'm paying $2,000 right now. I buy a house and I'm paying 1,800. I don't have to house hack, right? Because I don't want to share my space. But this is a thing that you could do as well. You don't have to share the inside of your space, but now you could get the outside. You could say, you know what? If you have a garage, you could turn that garage into something, right? You could say if people that are doing, say for instance, people that are doing Turo, right? You could let them park their cars there, and you charge them a fee every month for them leaving their cars there, because some people, they don't want to park their cars where their house is, or they might be too far. So say for instance, if you live near the airport, right? You could say, listen, you get with the people, you go on Turo, you look up the people on Turo, and they say, you know what, let me go ahead and contact this person and see if they will pay me $100 a month to keep their car in my driveway because I live near, or I will park it in the garage for them. Simple stuff, but now you're getting $100, right? So now, say for instance, you're getting $100 there, and you're renting out the rooms in your house same way, because you're used to sharing your space anyway. You're living with your cousin, you're living with your best friend right now. You go ahead, you buy a house, and then you say, hey, you know what, let's move into this house. You don't even have to tell them you just buy the house, but I'm pretty sure it's a big jump, it's a big step, it's a big accomplishment. So I wouldn't want you to hide it, right? So now you buy the house, instead of y'all paying again for somebody else's place, now you move into your house, they're paying you rent, which is helping you pay the house off, building equity. At the end, you're writing tax off. You're out there in your garage, somebody else is paying you an extra $100 to park their car in your driveway, or something like that, for Turo. There's different ways, guys, that you could make money. You just have to think and be strategic with it, right? So guys, in my course, I teach a lot, right? But also, it's like I want to make sure that you're successful when you're getting into real estate, right? There's different objectives, there's different tasks that you're gonna obstacles that you have to go through. Some people get discouraged, but when you have the resources, right? When you have the resources to help you, then you'll go a far way, right? You'll go a far way. So reach out to me, DM me on Instagram at George's Movement if you're ready to get started. So say for instance, a lot of people out there, again, if you think you need a lot of money, you don't. If you think you need perfect credit, you don't. There's different ways that you could get started in real estate. I could teach you how to wholesale. I could teach you how to do different things. I have a student that made $9,000 on our first deal, right? I have people that are making $40,000 on deals, right? There's different ways that you could make money in real estate. You can do it if they can do it, if I can do it. If this Jamaican boy can do it, you can do it, right? So reach out to me on Instagram, DM me, and I'll love to help you. I'll love to coach you. I'll love to guide you to that next level, and get you where you need to be as far as building wealth for your family, or just get that first rental property under your belt. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in with me, and I'll hit you up on the next one. All right, bye. Ay, hindi.